Hi, Katie here with Create Crew. I'm going to go through the Glam Film collection and just show you some tips and tricks of using this set. A few things you'll want to know is that this set is not necessarily for shooting in spots that are mostly greens like grasses, trees, things like that. It's going to work better with urban, more lifestyle things in home, downtown, out with your kids, different things like that. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first thing that I like to do before going and picking through presets is just hovering over each one. That will actually bring it up onto the screen, and then I am able to just choose which one that I think looks best. I am going to go ahead and scroll through a few here. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Glam Film 1 just to get this going. The first thing I'm going to do is increase the exposure, and that's about it. So the next thing I would do is I would go up to File, I would go to Export, and then I would make a folder for this specific photo, and then I would be able to go with export with previous for any other photos. A quick way to edit, if you have found a preset that you like and you don't want to make the adjustments on every single one, is that you can just go straight down here in the corner to copy. You'll click all the boxes that you want to make sure are clicked, go to copy, and then you can just move right along in the series of your photo session and just go paste. And generally you won't have much to do. Maybe this one I want to up exposure just a tad. You will notice in these presets, this is the first time that I have ever added grain to the actual photo to give it that more authentic film look. So if you're not a fan of grain, all you have to do is just scroll down over here on the side and just pull down this over here, and that will get rid of the grain for you. So that's really up to you whether or not you would like to keep the grain in there or not. Just going through a few other of these, I'm going to just click Glam Film 5. All my presets are not going to adjust your temperature or your exposure. That's going to be up to you to actually do that. So here's another, just upping right what I need. I'm just going to go through some different lighting so you can see here what I'm doing. It is impossible for me to actually tell if I'm going to like this preset or not until I just bring the exposure up a little bit, because I do like to shoot slightly underexposed, because this does keep, for me anyways, not a lot underexposed. If you go too underexposed, you're going to start noticing noise and different things in your images. But for me, just a little bit is just right. If you notice, my lens made a little bit of a vignetting here around the side. That's not the preset doing that. That's actually my lens. And an easy way to fix that is that you can just come right over here in your panel, and I'm going to enable profile corrections, and that's going to get rid of that. Depending on the image, I generally am not a huge fan of having that little bit of a vignette. So it's really a personal taste. As you'll see, I haven't culled through these to find, the, most perfect ones. So this is all just very, you're seeing pretty much exactly what I was getting. If you ever wonder what I'm shooting at in my settings, you can actually see those up in the corner over here. You'll see ISO 100. I had my 85 for my lens, and I was shooting at 1.4, and my my shutter speed was at 400. The 85 is definitely my favorite lens to use. So here's another one in the Glam Film. This one, you'll notice, this is why I named it Glam Film, because it definitely has more extra to it than what you're going to find in just more typical film collections. The luminance is high on this one. I get this question a lot of wondering how to make the skin maybe not look quite so smooth. There's two things. One, shooting in RAW is your best bet, as when you're shooting in JPEG, it's not saving as much information, and so when you're putting the preset on there that has luminance on it, it's gonna just give you a look that maybe is less than ideal. Secondly, anything that with a preset is always adjustable. I always ask myself, what is the one thing that I would want to change in this particular preset? And it's pretty simple. I want to, for this, I think it looks a little too smooth. So I'm going to go to luminance, and I'm going to just bring that luminance down pretty much all the way. Now her skin isn't quite as shiny. Maybe I want to add a little more grain to this and give it more of a film overall look and feel. I can do that easily right over here. If you're saying, well, they look orange, if you find yourself saying that, they look orange, they look too warm, any of those types of things, all you need to do is go up to the top. You're going to go to temp, and you're just going to pull that temp down until you find the happy amount of warmness that you would like for your particular image. This one, maybe I want to just go right here. I tend to want to shoot warmer. So one thing that I love about shooting these two, as far as for the presets to work with the skin tones, is because her skin is a very olive type skin. It almost tends to pull maybe more greens. His definitely tends to pull more oranges and yellows. So coming down over here to the orange saturation, if I pull that down just a little bit, then that's all I need to do. Now, I don't want to make him not look like himself and make him look super pale, so I'm only going to pull that down just enough slightly that it makes sense for the photo. All right, I'm going to keep moving along. These ones, this particular series here, we actually shot this in direct sun. The sun was coming right in. Since it is November, the light is softer, and it's coming in not quite as harsh, so it does make it easier. So I'm going to go on Glam Film 12, and you're probably like, Katie, that's too dark. As I said earlier, you're just going to up the exposure. She's got a warm tint on her face, so I'm just going to decrease my temperature until I get to where I want it to be. But since this is direct sun, she is going to stay a little bit warmer than. We're going to go through a few more of these. I'll show you a few other edits with this particular. This one, Glam Film 15, is definitely more desaturated. This entire set is really amazing. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it, and there's a lot of creative control with it that you can do, just getting yourself out there and shooting in different situations. And like I said, it's not necessarily going to be the best set for shooting in fields and green. So not that you can't, but it's, let's go through another. So I'm going to click on Glam Film 16 here. I'm just going to up exposure, and then I'm going to bring that temp down just a little bit. And I love this on her. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click, and I'm just going to, if I just turn the angle just a little bit, that'll get that right back on straight. So I can just go to copy then to do my adjustments, and we can just move on through. This one we're going to just bring down slightly. And when you're doing your copy and paste of adjustments, you do not have to have it copy the exposure. That's really up to you. This particular one I had already edited, but just for the sake of the video, we'll go through. So you definitely have more full color like this one, or like I said, you can go maybe a little more desaturated. So moving along in this, the light in this one, we get pretty creative. We're outdoors and the sun by this point was going down. So definitely darker than working with backlit or things like that. So on this one, I went ahead and clicked Glam Film 12. So I'm gonna come over here. I'm just gonna up that just slightly. And we'll just bring that up just a little bit of the temp just for that warmth. And then I'm gonna just turn this angle just slightly. We're a little bit crooked. There we go. So again, moving through these. Here's another, this was one of my favorites in the series. So here's kind of a different look with this. There's definitely could have went more. Once you add that warmth to this, this really just livens up this image. Again, with him, I would pull down the orange saturation just a hair. So you have this look that you can go, and then you also have kind of more of this darker. I tend to, on this one, lean more towards the darkness, especially with them being in the alley. I just feel like it just tells more, it just adds more interest to the story. We're gonna go. So Glam Film 10 again here is another that I really like. Just need to up the temperature just a little bit. Again, like I said, I tend to shoot on the warmer. I like warmer images, but maybe for you, you like them cooler, and that's totally fine. You're just going to want the temp to be lower. So here's Glam Film 8. We just go here. I'm going to just up the temp again. As you can see, a lot of these are one-click edits besides just maybe the exposure or the temp. So we did do some images that were by artificial light, and with those, obviously that's going to add its own challenges. So I went ahead and clicked Glam Film 20 for this indoor. It was just like a low light. The thing with this one is I really wanted to still keep the the natural look to it. So that was pretty much just a one click there. All I really need to do is just change the angle slightly. I think we're pretty good to go. All right, so that is Glam Film. I really love this set. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this set as well. It's definitely something totally different than any other collection that I have ever come out with, and it was a lot of fun to make. Here's one more. I'm going to do this Glam Film 11, and I'm going to just bring down this temp here, just on her face. You'll notice that the shadows in this are bluer, so there is a quick thing that you can do. If you come down here, you have your highlights, which are going to be like, for instance, like her face and like his face, and where things are a little brighter, and in the sky. Those are your highlights. And those right now, we actually have the highlights turned down, but the shadows are set to like a cooler. So if you want to actually warm those shadows up, all you got to do is just bring those to like a warmer spot, and then you can do that. And if you're like, okay, well, now her face is like turning orange and whatnot, or yellow, again, it's just that temperature of where you can really adjust that. On this, I would pull down my whites and I would pull down my highlights for this particular one, and I would also turn down the noise, I would turn down the luminance as well. So I'm going to actually go ahead and move over into the Desert Rose and the Rebel Queen. So here we have our Desert Rose. So Rebel Queen is another awesome set. This one's going to be a little bit more moody. I'm going to just go through some of these and just show you again, just working on with the adjustments and just kind of what this set has to offer here. We got our paint and colors. That is from Lemon and Lace. And then here we are, Rebel Queen. So just going through again, here's just scrolling over some of the images with this. I absolutely love this set. It's really amazing. So again, there's two different, I love this look right here. Right there, that's a one click. The only thing that I would maybe do is adjust the temperature just slightly on that one. The light on this, obviously it's a little different. There's kind of a little bit of a sun haze going. Definitely a big sun haze going here. I'm going to, this we were in definitely more of a cooler light. We didn't really have much for light leaks or anything like that coming. So here's a Rebel Queen 1, and then we're just going to kind of go through and over them, and I'll find a good one that I kind of like. So some of these I did go ahead and take the luminance adjustment out, so that way you are able to just easily click on that and then not have to worry about going down and scrolling and take that off. So I went ahead and we're just going to go there. I am going to up the shadows on this one. There would probably be another preset that would maybe work a little bit better for this particular photo, but just in the interest of kind of showing you how to tweak them to your liking, I'm going to bring the contrast down a touch because I feel like that was a little too heavy for me. So bringing the contrast down and then also bringing the clarity down just for me gives it a little bit more of a softer, more of a, I feel like appealing look. I'm also going to enable the profile corrections like I did earlier. And I'm going to bring a little bit of shadow possibly back and then a little bit of the blacks back. So that's about all that I would do on that one. Again, here's another one. We're just going to go right with Rebel Queen 1. I'm just going to bring that temp down on this one, and honestly, this one is going to be pretty good. Bring the highlights down as well. So these ones, again, I was shooting with my 85, the ISO was 100, my f-stop on this one was 1.2, I was wide open. And then it was earlier in the day, actually, it was about 3 p.m., I believe. No, 2:30, and the shutter speed was at 1250 for these. We definitely were not shooting at twilight, which, as we know, is ideal. There's Tim Booth from View Tree in there. Okay, we'll go to this one here because this one's a little bit more challenging light. So here is, again, let's try, yes, I love Rebel Queen 3 actually on this one. I love seeing, like, with her shadow, I love seeing all the detail in the wood, all of that. Again, here we are a little bit more in some haze sorts of situations. Coming down here, we can just come through a few of these others. Let's see. Really, like any of these. This one definitely pulls kind of more of the browns. I kind of like it because it really pulls in her skirt. Now, if I were to go with this one, I would probably pull it into Photoshop, maybe take out the light pull there, but I really enjoyed those. These ones where we're kind of lower underneath. So this one definitely has kind of of the cooler. If you up exposure a little bit and then just bring your temp up, it does warm that one up slightly. Let's try another one on this one. Let's see. Let's try Rebel Queen 4. I really like that. I love how it brings out the blue in her eyes. It really makes it pop. So these in the back of this bust, we were able to get creative here. So here's Rebel Queen 6. Pretty much a one click and then just up exposure, and you're honestly good to go. All right, we are gonna go ahead and move over into Desert Rose. This is definitely, this whole entire session was kind of our grand finale. It really was a dream come true, to be honest. Okay, so Desert Rose right up here. Get to the very top of those. Okay. So I did add different things in here for cool, for temperature, things like that. Again, this Desert Rose collection is not going to be most ideal for like trees and things like that. Here, for instance, that's a one click. This entire spot was gorgeous. I have played around with this with other sessions as well, and these three sets are truly really awesome. I think you guys are going to like them a lot. They're very different than anything from Lemon and Lace or anything else that Crate Crew has. So this one here, when you're dealing with sun haze, it can be a little tricky at times, especially as you can see, we were full out in the sun. You can definitely get some creative things when you're doing that. However, when I am shooting full sun, as you can see, a lot of these are all full sun, I do like to make sure that I go and get images as well that are where it has the sun more coming in from the side. For instance, this one, I'm just going to grab here real quick. So like this Desert Rose 9, it's definitely a little bit of a cooler look, but just upping that slightly. The skin tones on this entire set are just, they're amazing. Let's see. The florals are a good opportunity to show you just some of the potentials with the greens, like Desert Rose 8. I really love this green tone. I wanted something that kind of had a little bit of I want to say more of like a mint type green. So I'm going to move through a few more of these. I hope more than anything that these videos just show you how customizable presets are, that if you're running into any issues at all, the adjustments are there. If you have questions, just please post in the group your before and afters, and would definitely, you know, would love to help. This set, for this particular one where they're a little more wide angle, I had on my 35, but those other ones that were more portrait, I did have my 85 for those. I tend to typically shoot between my 85 and my 35, both Canon. I do have the Sigma Art 105 as well. I don't tend to use that one really a whole lot. I'm going to get you one just here with the horse, and then I think we'll go ahead and end on him. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you obviously if you have any questions, please just post in the Crate Crew group or in the Lemon and Lace Photographers Education group. So here, this one, if I just up, this was Desert Rose 8, and I'm just going to up that exposure just a little bit here. But all right, that's it. If you have any questions, please just let me know. Enjoy your new presets.